We all want something that helps us get better results faster. It's why no matter how much we know, fad diets and extreme workout programs have an allure. But often it is really small 1% improvements and tweaks to what we're currently doing that make the difference. That's why I want to share this simple training technique that can accelerate your results. And you can implement it today without really making any changes to your schedule or workout designs. It's adding an eccentric focus to exercises. In this video, I'll discuss what focusing on the eccentric means, how it can lead to better results faster, and how you can include it in your current training routine to accelerate your strength and muscle gains. And this technique can help you build muscle and strength whether you're training in a full gym or only with bodyweight exercises. So first, what does focusing on the eccentric mean? Let's get a little nerdy here. The eccentric is one of three muscle contractions: concentric, isometric, and eccentric. Concentric is the shortening of the muscle tendon complex. Isometric is where length remains constant with tension or hold. And eccentric is the lengthening of the muscle tendon complex. To focus on the eccentric portion of the movement means to slow down the part of the movement where the prime mover or the main muscle group being worked is being lengthened. This may mean slowing down the lower down at a bench press or a balance lunge, although it applies to when the muscle is being lengthened in any movement. Now, how does the eccentric lead to strength and muscle gains? There are three big main reasons why it's believed that focusing on the eccentric can lead to better muscle hypertrophy and strength gains. Reason number one, you spend more time under tension, which can result in better gains. When you slow down the tempo of that lower down, your muscles spend more time in a working state. The longer work time, the more time under tension for the muscle. And this can lead to more mechanical tension and muscle tissue damage, driving better muscle gains. This time under tension results in more muscle protein synthesis and a faster onset of this increased synthesis. And while you can slow down any component of the lift, there's a specific benefit to emphasizing the eccentric. And part of this benefit comes from the fact that we're actually stronger in that eccentric phase, which is reason number two. You're spending time under tension during a portion of a movement where you're the strongest. This can allow you to do more challenging variations of a move, especially if you do an eccentric only variation. By doing a more challenging variation, you're creating more progressive overload. Sometimes we aren't able to lift more weight for a full movement or even do a harder variation of a specific exercise. This is where slowing down and focusing on the eccentric can help. It can help us push to a new level to challenge our muscles and promote better growth and strength gains. It can help us do a harder movement, even if it's just for a portion of the exercise. If you can't yet do a full pull-up, but want to progress this move to build strength and muscle and even be able to rock a full one, you may do an assisted variation up to the top of the pull-up, then do a slow lower back down, taking on your full body weight. You'll find you're able to control that lower down slowly to challenge your muscles, even if you can't yet do a full pull-up. And reason number three, while muscle tissue damage isn't the only driver of muscle growth, a slow eccentric does lead to more muscle tissue damage, which does force the muscle to repair and build stronger. Loading muscle fibers when stretched creates a type of stress and muscle tissue damage that requires your body to build new muscle cells. This leads to both strength and muscle gains. Eccentric training is a great way to create greater stress and strain on the muscle compared to other muscle actions. And bonus, because we're stronger during this phase of a movement, not only can we lift more or do a harder variation of the move, we can often more easily also do a higher volume of work, which leads to better gains faster. Now, a warning to using this technique before I go over more on how to include this in your workouts. Focusing on the eccentric part of the lift can make you very, very sore. Because of the muscle tissue damage and loading under stretch, slowing down the eccentric can cause delayed onset muscle soreness or DOMS. Be conscious of this fact to give a muscle group enough time between training sessions to repair and rebuild. Also, don't do a workout loaded down with the eccentrics for every single move. Use different tempos and rep ranges to your advantage. And be conscious of the types of moves you include for eccentric focused work. Especially with moves like the deadlift, it's harder to control the eccentric. So you may not want to focus on a slower lower down when you're doing a 5 rep max, but instead use it during more accessory hip hinge work for 8 to 12 reps. It's also key that you create a consistent workout schedule so you can slowly progress workouts and repeat them weekly. This prevents you from getting sore from also doing something constantly new. And then don't ignore the importance of your fueling and recovery work. So now that you've been warned, how can you include eccentrics in your training for better results? Focus on using a slow eccentric for only a main exercise or two in your workouts. Even just a 3 to 5 count lengthening is an amazing slow tempo to use, especially for stubborn areas you're struggling to build. You can both use slow eccentric reps at the start of your workout on a single compound lift with heavy weights, like the barbell squat, or even a bodyweight skill you want to progress, like the push-up. You can also choose to use slow eccentrics for higher rep isolation exercises, like on the bicep curl, at the end of your workout to really target a muscle group and work it to failure. This time under tension for volume can yield amazing results for those especially stubborn areas. And when you do a slow eccentric, you can do either A, full move with a slow eccentric tempo, or B, do an eccentric only variation. And any move you're currently doing, you can make one little tweak to today by just taking a 3 to 5 count to lengthen. This would be a slow eccentric tempo, but you can also do an eccentric only variation of a move you can't yet fully perform. While you can do this with weights by setting up at the top of a move, this technique is especially good to progress bodyweight skills like the push-up or pull-up. For the push-up, you would set up at the top of the push-up for a variation you can't yet fully do and do a slow 3 to 5 count lower down. Then instead of losing form to push back up, you'd simply modify or release and reset at the top. Both can work and both can help you create progression to build amazing results. And which you use might be based on the other limitations you have for progressing your workouts. Eccentrics are a great way to create progression in your training regardless of their unique benefits. So while focusing on the eccentric portion has benefit even when you have other ways to advance exercises, like weights or equipment or harder variations, it can be a great way to create progression to help you see better results if you can't add heavier weights yet to a move, can't do another rep with the current weight, can't progress to that next harder variation of the movement, or don't have other tools to change range of motion or create progression. A slow eccentric tempo can be the way we make what we have on hand work for us to meet us where we're at. It can be a great way with even bodyweight training to see great muscle growth and strength gains. And one last thing I want to touch on. If you're wondering if eccentric training is right for you if you're trying to rebuild muscle after an injury, yes it is. Focusing on a slow eccentric can help you strengthen a muscle through a full range of motion to improve your mobility, stability, and flexibility. Using lighter loads and a focus on that slow, controlled eccentric can even be a great way to start back to training to make sure you keep all of the mobility you build up during rehab. Just make sure that you progress slowly and don't do too much volume to make yourself so sore that you can't be consistent with your training. So if you're looking to accelerate your strength and muscle gains, try using slow eccentrics with one of the exercises you're already doing, especially one that targets a stubborn area you want to build. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe. We're posting new videos each week.